and people be aware of this. I noticed when I cut my phone time down, or when I cut my phone time down 2 occasions. Cut my phone time down an hour before my bedtime. Notice I slept better.
Yeah.
Then when I don't know if you can recall when I did that 5-day tech detox. No phone, no computer, limited electricity. So like I was using candles, bro. I was like taking it back. Bro, let me tell you, that was the most sound sleep I had in a long time.
That's it.
It was great. I like when we have these little takes of us. I thought it was just freaking cool.
I like when you do that. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. We can have some fun with it, bro.
That's it.
So how did you sleep last night, man?
Slept good, man. Slept good. You know, my biggest thing with sleep is sleep. Like, I think I drink too much water at night, man. That's my thing. I try to catch up on my water, and I know I really should stop drinking water around probably a couple hours before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, I miss my water throughout the day. So I'm like, all right, do I want to have my body in a dehydrated mode, or do I want to kind of break my sleep at night? For me, it's like, I work out a lot, I mean, sleep is by far the best thing you can do to repair your body. Right.
Yeah.
But like, I'm also like, I know dehydration, what it does to like the fascia and the muscles, and you just, so it's like, I just got to get more disciplined and with doing both, hydrate myself earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And then, but beside that, man, my sleep is good, man. Sleep is good, man. We went to bed last night around probably like 10:30.
Yeah.
And that's the time I usually go to bed. And usually my alarm clock is off anywhere from depending what I got to do, from like anywhere from like 4 to like 6. So.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like. Oh, hold on. I like asking that question because it's like, you can see me, right? Yeah, you can see me.
Yeah,
I like asking that question because I don't know. It's a good check-in question.
Yeah.
Sleep last night. Yeah, it's not good. And usually when I ask people like what good means, they're like, well, I slept sound, right? And like last night I slept. It's so interesting because like I slept, yet I sensed like I was going somewhere else. Like I was somewhere else, which was like, I don't know. Sometimes I wake up like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So checking in. So bless up everybody. This is Paul and Brian on Everything is More Than Black and White. Welcome back. Brian, you want to say what's up to the people?
Good morning, everyone. Well, at least if you're watching it live, it's 9:00 in the morning here, and usually Paul and I do ours at night. So good morning. Hope you have a blessed day, and hope you learn something from this.
Oh, they're always learning something from this.
Yeah, man.
That's the truth. And yeah, it's morning somewhere.
It's morning, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You're watching it at night. There's someone in Asia watching in the morning, man.
Precisely. So bless up everybody. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for checking in. If you're coming back to this podcast, thank you and welcome back, and thank you for your support. If you're new to this podcast and this video, welcome. Brian and I are both health and wellness professionals with, I would say between the two of us, we have a little over 50 years of experience in this health and wellness field in various aspects. So with this podcast and these video logs, like we're relaying these information on some of these common things that people may think are common, yet they overlook a lot of the intricacies and the levels of what these things mean. And today we're going to dive into a conversation that I think is, I don't know. I think actually I've yet to know. And I believe that this is a conversation most people just gloss over. Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Sleep. You know what I mean? So let's talk about, first of all, like for this podcast, we're going to go over a little bit intro of sleep. Like, of course, like you put your head down on a pillow, you put your comforters or your sheets on the shit. And it's something that's a necessity. And what is the importance, first of all, of sleep? So Brian, like for you, man, like especially when you're working with people, because I've heard you say several times in the recordings in our sessions about the importance of sleep in regards to recovery. So for you, like what makes sleep so important, man?
Yes, I remember taking a course from the late Charles Poliquin, and he said there's four reasons. Let's see if I remember all four off the top of my head. But there's four reasons why people are overweight. One is they're malnourished; they're not eating the right types of nutrients in their body. Their body's stressed out. Remember, there's six different types of stressors. Their
Yeah.
bodies are toxic, meaning the more fat that you're holding, the more toxins are going to be in the fat. Right, that's where you store more majority of fat, or I'm sorry, majority of toxins is in your fat. And sleep. Sleep is the fourth one. So sleep to me is one of the most powerful things you can do to restore your body, restore your mind. We all now in the new craze now in the fitness world is recovery, recovery, recovery. You can take all the recovery supplements, all the meditation you want, all the whatever it is you're into. But if your sleep is fragmented or your sleep is poor, it's not even like getting like 8 hours of sleep. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of sleep that you're getting. Like
Right.
are you in that deep REM cycle, rapid eye movement sleep? Are
Mm.
are you restoring your body? There's a lot of studies out there showing, like, obviously, I mean, this is pretty common knowledge to most people, but like, you don't get your sleep, your body's not going to repair, your body's breaking down.
Yeah.
Psychologically, you start, having all these emotional issues and everything like that. So, sleep is by far the most important thing you can do for recovery.
But I appreciate. Yeah, it's like as you were speaking, I was like, dang man, it is. I was thinking about, I was recalling the people that I've worked with, and also for myself. Whenever I've gone through things, like my quality of sleep suffered. Even though I would say, "Hey, I'm gonna get to bed at 10:30. I'll wake up at 6, and like I'm good to go." While I would meet those hour requirements for sleep, I was tossing and turning the whole freaking time, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, and then I wake up groggy and cranky, and then I load up on freaking coffee.
Hmm.
So it was just like a cycle. Uh, like I view sleep as important, especially. And I, know, I agree with what you say. Like the recovery piece is so important right now. It's like a big thing right now. Yet at the same time, I think sleep is important because it really is the reset. Like it's like taking everything and restoring physically, excuse me, and mentally.
Yeah.
Like letting my thoughts calm down, because I notice for myself when I am in stress or in worry, my sleep sucks.
Hmm.
It's horrible, man. So, and especially, and also if my sleep is horrible, what I tend to do is I may go to sleep later. Like I'll get tired at 10:30, and I'm like, wait, I got one more thing to do. Then I'm up until 1.
Yeah.
And then like with my schedule, I'm usually up by 5 or 5:30 in the morning to either take a class or like do shit. So I recognized like I was missing something in my sleep. And you and I, like when I was looking over our show notes, like there was something that really resonated with me, and it was the phases of sleep. And I'm wondering, like, I want us to let's dive into that, B, because, and then we're gonna get into like the circadian rhythm, right? Because and this is more along the lines of what are like the impacts that. Well, first of all, let's talk the phases, right? And the impacts of missing out on these phases. So the first phase um, is
Yeah.
muscle repair.
Yeah.
Muscle repair. How
That goes
important is
in hand
this?
with the circadian rhythm, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Brian. Well, Brian, tell us about the
Well,
circadian rhythms.
Well, basically something that your circadian rhythm is basically like your internal clock, right? So after
Yeah.
about being born, about maybe like anywhere from like 3 weeks to 3 months of being born, your body gets hardwired with this internal clock. So meaning
Mm,
between the hours of 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., your body goes through a physical repair. Your
mm,
muscles are healing, your immune cells are attacking cancer cells. You have certain cells that fight off parasites and fungal around that time. So a lot of things are going on with overall repair of the body on a physical
mm,
level. Between the hours of 2 a.m. through 6 a.m., your body goes through a psychological repair. So basically, the stresses that you went through that day is just kind of like your body's doing its best it can to kind of erase that psychological stress, that emotional stress of the day, to kind of almost like you said before, like reset your body to go into the next day.
right.
So if you're missing that 10, say that 4 hours every night of physical repair, and you're working out a lot, say you're working out, say 5, 6 days a week, and your workouts are intense, but you're getting to sleep, say 1 o'clock every day, you can sleep till 3 o'clock the next afternoon, but you're never going to get that window of repair. It's the time frame that you have to be in within that area to get that whole physical repair. So you're
Yeah,
missing out a lot. You're missing out on a lot. And you can take all the branched chain amino acids you want, the essential amino acids and the magnesium and the multivitamin, but that's
yeah,
not going to fix it. And that's a problem with, like, going off a little tangent. That's a problem with, like, a lot of, like, people try to out supplement their lifestyle. And I read a funny analogy the other day. Somebody's like, taking supplements with a bad lifestyle is like, filling your gas tank up and hoping the alignment works. So
right.
that's not the same.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
So,
freaking.
that we can get into supplements later, and we have a lot of studies on, like, melatonin now and everything like that, which is
Yeah.
kind of blew my mind watching, listening to these studies. But yeah, that's basically the circadian rhythm.
Yeah, and this is important to note because especially like we talk about the one of the previous sessions we talked about an effective workout routine, and in that episode we laid out a lot of positive, a lot of quality content and insight, and this goes hand in hand with it, man, because I'm recognizing too as I'm talking to you, when I ballooned up to like I think I was either 225 or 230. I was
Mhm.
up there when I was in
All
that
muscle,
time.
right? All
No.
muscle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In my mind, it was in the mirror. They were like, "Yo, bro, what's up with this spare tire up in this piece,
Yeah.
son? Get that shit."
Uh-huh.
So I recognized, like at that time, I was going to bed. Like first of all, I was stressing because like I was looking for full time work. Money was tight,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I was writing the book, and I was getting to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and I would wake up at 9, right? I would get my 7 hours from for my age. That's a good look, right? Yet when I would wake up, I was like, oh man, I was groggy, and my body really, I still had a lot of aches and pains, man. And it was this sleep deprivation that was like coming over me. I was like, God damn. But I
Yeah.
also recognized like my body was jammed up, bro. It was like it wasn't even functioning properly because again, these circadian rhythms. And again, coming back to that Andrew Huberman podcast
Hmm.
where they were talking about fasting and circadian rhythms, this piece is so important because Brian broke down freaking Brian, that was a great job by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
As he broke down the different phases, there's also different like there's different organs. I remember reading that this meridians and chakras, and I was fascinated when I was reading through it and studying it, how they talked about the different, like the kidney meridian and the lung meridian and all these things. They have a certain time frame too,
Yeah.
where they get to be repaired and healed. So when I started looking at that, and especially when we made the choice to talk about this, I think it's important for people to understand that your sleep is just as important of a component as anything else that you do. It's just as important. Just like hydration, just like your nutrition, just like your activity, because sleep is the reset and it can have a major impact. So, for example, um, blood pressure. I have family members and clients that suffer from sleep apnea. And for those that are like, what? Sleep of who? Sleep
Hmm.
apnea. It's basically when like your lung or your nasal passage or you stop breathing. Okay. Which
Yeah.
is super freaking dangerous. And all of a sudden your body's like in this.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
people when they go to see the sleep apnea, they go to get their test, then they got to put this device on their face so they look
Hmm.
like fucking Bane. They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
then they're
It's not the
uncomfortable.
quietest thing either.
It's not right because you got this thing like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like forcing air, right?
Yeah.
So there's these obstacles that can come up from lack of sleep that can impact us. And when I talk about this, right, and I think it's important to know like let's what are some of the things like I talked about this sleep apnea thing, but what are some of the things that you see can be can disrupt sleep. Let's talk
Sure.
about that because I think people have yet to know what are the components that can really fuck this. Yeah, fuck their sleep up.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but I want to double click on something you said. That I'd even put in the show notes is like depending on what times you're waking up at night,
Yeah,
could be an organ or chakra that's inhibited. I forgot off the top of my head exactly what it is. I think like between the hours of like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m.
yeah.
It's if you're waking up around that time, it's because your blood sugar levels they're off. So a lot of
Mm.
people that eat like a sugary food right before they go to bed. I mean, you should
Right.
have majority of your carbs at night, but if you do
Yeah.
like too much like simple sugars, your blood sugar levels will rise, your adrenal will rise. You go through. I'm sorry, your blood sugar levels will rise. Then
Right.
after about maybe like an hour and a half of going through, it'll crash. And when it happens, well, after your blood levels crash, adrenaline tries to kick in to try to balance them kind of back out, and that's when people wake up around that time frame. They're like, "Bink, I forgot the hours of 1 to 3, but I think it's maybe like the liver, maybe
I
something with a
think
detox of the liver.
it's either the liver or the kidney because I know it's a
Yeah,
detox. It is a detox phase.
yeah.
I'm
That's
certain.
that's a quick Google search for anybody out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
then 3 to 5 is the liver detox or a liver or kidney. So it's either one of
Perfect.
those two that are kind of so you can look at if you're constantly waking up at say 3 o'clock every morning or 3:30 every morning, and you're like, all right, like this, I would maybe check out your liver or your kidney. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
And then you can kind of take it from there. It could be like medication that you're taking. It could be maybe you need a quick cleanse, maybe you need to do an elimination diet, maybe you're toxic, you're backed up. Remember we
Yeah.
talked about in the previous podcast your P1 P2 pathways are not working, maybe you need some more amino acids. It could be anything.
Mm,
But that I would start taking like some notes about that and at least have that in the back of your mind. All right, what times am I waking up? Is it a regular thing too?
yeah.
So that goes hand in hand, kind of like what you were talking about, which I think is it's pretty important to know.
Yeah, dude. This is so. For those that are taking this in, this is another layer of how our body communicates with us as to where we are. Okay. And again, sleep is important. So being able to be aware, like I really do favor a lot of these devices that can monitor sleep. So it's we're in a different time right now, Brian. Right, where it's like back
Mhm.
when we first started, a lot of these things weren't like if you wanted to monitor these things, like you would have to go to usually some sort of study and
Hmm.
be there overnight or maybe for several nights and really see like have them monitor. Whereas now we got an Apple Watch, we got all these different things to
Yeah.
monitor our sleep and give us that detailed feedback. Because it's like we talked about this in a past episode, treating your body like an experiment, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking at this, then I can be like, oh, I'm noticing this trend here.
Hmm.
So like, oh, I can do it like this, and this. So it really I think it's important to know that these with these sleep orders, like this is telling us something. So if your body is off, or your sleep is off, is your body's telling you something. Because when it comes down to it, I was looking up stats. I love stats,
Hmm.
and they had this astronomical figure. I'm looking for it right now. Well, first of all, the one thing that got me: lack of sleep cost the United States over $411 billion and 1.323 million working days annually.
Hmm.
I always wonder how do they calculate that piece. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, it's crazy, right? I'm like, huh? How did you
Well,
even
it leads to
calculate?
like heart disease. It leads to so it's
Right.
crazy. I read this book a
Um,
while ago. One of my favorite sleep books. It was a book called Lights Out by T.S. Wiley, and I have it on my bookshelf back here. One of my favorite books. So obesity. So at the turn of the century, like there were people didn't have heart disease, right? And I
mhm,
forgot exactly when electricity started coming around or whatever it became like mainstream. But once electricity became mainstream, heart disease, diabetes, cancers, they all kind of just blew up because the lights were keeping people on at night and the people weren't living anymore from like sunset to sundown or sunset to sun rising, and
mhm,
they started messing up their circadian rhythm. So that's he starts talking about like all this stuff because of the lights that are going out. So this is like we really
Mm,
started like kind of packing, especially at the turn of the century. Again, I don't remember exactly when electricity became more mainstream. I know like certain
right.
areas, rich people had it for a while, but once it became more mainstream, it kind of blew up, and that's when like all these diseases started happening.
Interesting, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
fascinating.
fast.
Another
Yeah, man.
reason why people shouldn't have their phone next to them at night, or people shouldn't be looking at this bright light in their face every night. That'll mess up your
Brother,
sleep.
that's a
Yeah.
piece, man. It's something as you mention it, and people be aware of this. I noticed when I cut my phone time down, or when I cut my phone time down two occasions. Cut my phone time down an hour before my bedtime.
Hmm.
Notice I slept better.
Yeah.
Then when I did, I don't know if you can recall when I did that 5 day tech detox. No
Okay.
phone, no computer, limited electricity. So like I was using candles, bro. I was like taking it back, bro. Let me tell you, that was the most sound sleep I had in a long time.
That's
It
it,
was
man.
great because
That's
like
like messes up your whole nervous system, man. The EMFs. Like some people go as far. I know like athletes, like world class athletes. I've read some of their biographies where they like literally go in their power box and they shut everything off. So there's no
yeah,
electricity coming from their walls, no nothing, so they can repair quicker. And this dude, I mean, everyone's like that's a little extreme, but you know what, man, it works. That's one of the best things. If you're sleeping next to an outlet, even if nothing's plugged in, you still
right,
have EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies coming off, hitting you, disrupting your brain waves, disrupting the signals around your body. I mean, your body's all vibration, your body's energy, so it disrupts
right.
it. You know, so people, it sounds a little extreme, but if you're having really tough issues, I mean, that might be something to kind of look into.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this is where I see like there's those blackout curtains. I know you mentioned that in those two,
Yeah.
like the blackout curtains,
Hmm.
and like I used to love watching like Three's Company back in the day. Mrs.
Hmm.
Roper always had like that thing, and I remember it
Yeah.
was the first time I was like, "What the heck is that?" I was like, "That looks fake," and I would use that sometimes, but it would just like go all over the place on my
she,
pillow and shit.
she's
So
ahead of the times, man.
she was
She was a
ahead of the
pioneer,
times
man.
with those big momos she used to wear and shit. What's that?
She's ahead of her times, and she's a pioneer. You
She
know?
was, man, with
Yeah.
those momos she wearing and that curly
Oh
ass
yeah.
hair. Yo, Miss Roper was
I don't
on the
know about the
game.
moo moo, man, but the eyewear I get,
You didn't know about the momo?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Yo, dude, this is so wild, man, because
Hmm.
it's these little things, and as I'm thinking about even like the darkness, or the light rather, I'm thinking about like old school times, right? Like, and when I say old school times, I'm talking about Little House on the Prairie where they had the lanterns. Like, yo, I'm coming out here. When it
Hmm.
gets night outside, guess what? We're getting ready for sleep.
Yep.
Okay, when the sun is coming up, guess what? Get your behind up.
Going to
Okay,
work.
go to work. Go to work,
Yeah.
man. A couple of things I wanna dive into. Just a couple more statistics that are reinforce like what we discussed. This stat here from the Cleveland Clinic: 70 million people in the U.S. struggle with sleep disorders. And from the Yale Medicine, 90 million people in the U.S. have reported snoring problems. Now, another piece with this, when we talk about this lack of sleep, the lack of sleep, which is something I talked to before, can increase the risk of obesity. So this comes back into that play of like, hey, when we fail to get that amount of that proper adequate rest, things begin to break down. Our body
Right.
begins to take on more. Our body will want to take on more fat. Our equilibrium's off. So all of a sudden, our body's in this stress state. So it's like I'm gonna hold on to everything. It's like, yo, I don't know when I'm gonna need this. I may not digest and all these things.
Yeah. So one of
So
the kind of piggyback what you're saying right there before I forget is like
yeah,
when if you're not getting that REM sleep,
yeah,
your growth hormone, your testosterone is suffering. Even for women, you want testosterone. You don't want to lose testosterone as a woman. So
yeah.
one of those two hormones right there are very powerful fat burners. So if you're not getting your REM sleep or you're throwing things off by, we can talk a little bit about things that throw that REM sleep off.
Yeah.
You're gonna get obese. You're gonna get bigger. You're gonna become
Okay.
obese. You know what I mean? So it's important to
That
get that
makes
deep
sense.
sleep.
See, So let's come to this deep sleep piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like we talked a lot of layers of sleep, and I I believe that the collective consciousness thinks like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm just dormant. Like,
Yep.
yet there's a lot of stuff that's happening as we're talking about right now. There's a lot of stuff that happens when it comes to sleep, man. Um, and this is
Yeah, people think when you fall asleep, like your
yeah,
brain's asleep, dude. Your brain, like when you do sleep studies, your brain is off the charts, even sometimes more than you're awake, because it's
right,
trying to
bro.
repair itself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So the more deep sleep you're in, the more the if you're like in a fragmented sleep, the waves
yeah,
aren't that sharp. It's going like this, and the waves when the waves are slower, you're not getting that repair. So when you do like sleep studies, it'll show like it's amazing. Like I've seen like videos of this and everything like that. I never had a sleep study done, but your brain is actually almost like more awake than it
yeah,
is when you're awake. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Your brain's
yep,
going. Your brain can't tell if you're sleeping or not. I mean, your whole body is paralyzed because you can't move. You know, that's for
right,
protective mechanisms. But your
right.
brain's going a million miles an hour, and that's
Because
what it
your
does to
brain's like
repair it.
flying this shit.
Oh
Like, oh,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna fly to
yeah,
my body. I'm gonna jump out
yeah,
the window and I'm dead. Right? You know,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh,
Exactly.
how'd that happen? Damn.
Hmm.
I think this is huge, man, because I'm even curious like what my brain waves will look like when I was on alcohol, when I was drunk and go to sleep. And
Yeah.
also when I have a joint before bed because I know like now I stopped drinking for a little while. But I remember like I can vividly remember like shoot, it was just on Saturday. I went out. Was it Saturday? No, today's Tuesday, so it was Sunday for the Fourth of July party. Man, I had a lot of drinks, man, more than I
Hmm.
usually had, and I slept like shit.
Yeah. So
So,
with alcohol, with studies that you do with alcohol, and it's
yeah,
been shown, people are like, oh, I have a glass or two of wine a night. You can't get that deep REM even with a glass of alcohol. When you have alcohol in your system, bad news for everyone out there. You're not going to get that deep REM. You're not going to get that growth hormone that you need, your testosterone. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that second part of your your circadian rhythm to kind of it'll help you fall asleep. That's why a
yeah,
lot of people take alcohol at night is because they need to relax so they can kind of fall asleep. But you're never going to get that good quality of sleep. And they've done studies before where people are like, "Oh yeah, I slept great when they're on alcohol." But then the studies show with pictures of them, they're waking up like and they're unconscious. They're turning over, they're flipping over, turning over, flipping over, and they're never getting that sleep. So even though they might consciously think that, like, hey, I slept a good 8 to 10 hours, dude, no, man, like you never even got to that
yeah,
stage 5 sleep because
right.
that alcohol just kind of fragmented your sleep the whole time. With
This,
weed,
yeah,
here's another one too. It's like weed, people take weed to help them kind of relax and go to sleep. But
yeah,
you
like
actually, when
the
you do,
indicas.
yeah, it's THC, not CBD. There's THC, which is the active psycho ingredient in weed, right? So
Mm-hmm,
like that, when you smoke, you don't get in that deep REM sleep either, and it
mm-hmm,
actually decreases your testosterone and your growth hormone for about 50%. These are the top. They did 7 top sleep studies, and this is what they're showing now that weed actually decreases your testosterone and growth hormone during your sleep by about 50%. Yeah. So if you're taking, so sorry about that, but might want to try something a little different if body composition and quality of life is a little different, or if it's something you're
damn,
striving for, Yeah. Oh, trust
I'm
me, man. Like
curious.
yeah, man. I love. I don't do it that much anymore, but I
Yeah,
used to always love, taking a couple hits at night. I just,
me
oh yeah,
too, bro. Like
yeah.
it's so interesting, right? Because it's such an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
People will think, and I'm speaking for myself now,
Yeah.
peoples. I've thought like, you know what, man, I had a stressful day. I'm gonna freaking go get a martini and then go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Or it's like, God, I had a stressful day. These mothers of my children stress me the hell out.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm destroying myself. So because like there's a perception and coming to the recreational age, right? There's a perception of like especially with marijuana or like with alcohol, like this is a relaxing agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you say the THC impact. Like, is there a difference in the CBD? Because I know,
They
like,
haven't, from what I read about, they haven't found any significant studies that saying CBD will affect anything with your
okay,
sleep. It's none. It's
so it's not a
inconclusive
good
right
or
now.
bad. It's just like an agent,
Yeah,
type of
it's just
sleep.
it's inconclusive right now from the latest research that I've studied under. Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah,
I think this is so important, especially, I'm going on this journey of no marijuana, no alcohol, no ejaculation for 6 months. Um, so I'm like, as we're talking about this, I'm super curious about what my sleep is going to be like, and I think this is another component I want to add to my journals while I'm on this journey.
oh yeah.
Um,
Your sleep will definitely improve, man. If you're doing all that, yeah.
Dude, I'm really looking forward to this, man. Like, dang. So listen, so as we're talking about those type of perceived sleep aids, right?
Hmm.
Like, okay, I'm gonna get something to drinky drink or like smoky smoke or what have you. What do you see as beneficial sleep aids to people?
Beneficial sleep aids.
Yeah,
So let me talk about a little bit about melatonin right now.
cool.
So melatonin, that's everyone's like sleep aid, right? That's like the holy grail when people think of like sleep aids. Melatonin.
Melatonin. Yep.
I was following this guy on the Huberman podcast, Dr. Matthew, and he's like the head sleep guy, right? He does travels all around the country, does all talks and everything like that. And if he's on the Huberman, chances are this guy's legit.
He's legit. He's
Yeah, so
legit.
he had literally had like a 3 hour episode, and today's I'm getting a lot of his information I'm sharing with you guys today through this guy. We can leave the link for his Huberman episode below, and basically like 3 hours of this guy talking about sleep and the qualities and the benefits and what to do, what not to do. So he's talking about melatonin, and what I found out was interesting. Like your brain, so melatonin's a hormone, right? It's an antioxidant as well. It's produced in the pineal gland, and when what happens with melatonin before you go to sleep, or I'm sorry, as the night starts going on, it starts getting darker. Your body releases more melatonin to help you kind of fall asleep, right? So melatonin, your brain actually releases about zero point 0.1 milligrams of melatonin every night naturally, zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2, to help you kind of fall asleep. Now we're taking this huge dose. Like most people take like, I mean, look at the bottles of melatonin, 5 grams. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. That's literally like 100 to 200 times what you're supposed to be taking, and they're seeing a lot of detrimental effects on it. So what they're doing now is they're taking, so two things. They did a study with hamsters, and I know we don't have this exactly the biological replication of what a hamster's DNA and cell is in humans, but they
Right.
took hamsters, a bunch of hamsters, and they injected it with melatonin. And what they saw in the hamsters, their testicles, which are like the size of almonds, I'll take his word for it, never checked out a hamster's testicles, they actually shrunk to a grain of rice.
Mm.
So like almost 100-fold they dropped. And hearing that, it's like, that's probably enough for me to stop taking melatonin.
Yeah, bro.
And they're noticed that it's an androgen inhibitor, so it's blocking a lot of growth hormones, blocking a lot of testosterone, blocking a lot of IGF-1, which is another powerful steroid in your body that your body produces naturally. Um, so that was like crazy. And another thing about melatonin too, they did a study where they took like the top 7 melatonin companies, and they actually, so you don't know what you're getting out of it. So if something says 10 milligrams, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. So they took the top 7 melatonin supplement companies, and they actually took the pills out, and they did a lab test to see how much melatonin was actually in it. And it ranged anywhere. I have it in the show notes, but I have notes, but it ranged anywhere from 83% less to what it actually has, up to 478% more than what it actually says. So you imagine taking, most people, like now that I talk to people like, oh, I take like 5-10 milligrams of melatonin at night. Imagine that. That's, first of all, that's, if they're taking 10 grams of melatonin at night, that's over 100 times more than your body naturally produces. Now
Damn.
imagine if they're on the upscale where they're adding almost another 478% higher than that. It's going to jack up your androgen receptors. It's going to really mess you up. So they say melatonin is, I mean, it's $1 billion a year industry, you
Yeah,
know,
man.
but just be smart with it. Um, I wouldn't rely on it. I mean, you're talking to somebody like I take melatonin probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
After listening to this, I'm definitely going to cut it down. I'm going to
Yeah.
go through my bottle, then I'm going to try out some new stuff.
Okay.
Some new stuff that's out there. Everyone's heard of valerian root. Everyone talks about that
Yeah.
being
Yes.
powerful.
Yeah.
They actually, the studies show that it actually does nothing. Absolutely does nothing in there. It just, I don't. I'm sure it has some other good ingredients in it that, or I'm sorry, it has some benefits, but has nothing. It doesn't help you sleep better. With the sleep studies they did,
Mm,
it didn't get you a higher sleep, didn't make you sleep longer, didn't get you a deeper REM, didn't put
yeah.
you to bed quicker. Didn't do anything across the board.
Well,
Uh,
so real quick, I've always thought like so my in my family growing up in the Jamaican culture, valerian root has been really more of a like a calming type of agent rather
okay.
than a sleep agent.
Yeah.
So like hearing that makes sense, like what you said, because I've heard some people say, "Yeah, I'll take valerian root for sleep." I'm like, okay, I guess that will calm your ass down. But
Yeah.
like I'm hearing like, yo, this as far as sleep, calm is a
Yeah.
different thing. Sleep is it's not it's
That's actually a
ineffective.
really good point. Yeah. I
You
didn't
know,
put two and two together there. Yeah. But yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
it's
Kind of like probably,
interesting.
yeah. Probably something like what chamomile would do, I guess, help you
Exactly. So
relax,
it's
but
calming.
doesn't improve your quality of sleep. But two things they
Right.
found out that improve your quality of sleep was actually cherry tart. All right. And they
Huh.
did the studies were all in. So you can do a capsule, you can do a drink, or you can do a powdered form. They actually did the drink on all these studies.
Yeah.
The notes are in there. I forgot the statistics off the top of my head, Paul, but it improved your sleep in one study, but I think by about 84 minutes, it increased your sleep overall for people that were struggling a little bit. Did I
Yeah.
get that number right? 84 minutes
Yep,
or
you
something?
did. Yeah, good call.
Yeah,
Good at
yeah, good 84
you.
minutes. And then another one, which they're really excited about. Yeah, look at this guy. All right, that's why I got my sleep last night. I'm like,
Yeah, I
let's bring
see,
the
buddy.
elephant today, man. Yeah, I slept good last night. And
Nice.
another one is actually kiwi. And
I see that.
in the main ingredient that helps with the sleep benefits, Paul, if you can read those statistics off there,
Yeah.
is actually the skin of the kiwi. It's not the kiwi itself. So ingesting the skin, they're seeing amazing results on this.
Yeah, they say you fell asleep faster, slept longer, and stayed asleep for longer during the night.
Yeah,
That is really interesting.
yeah. So if you're going to do the kiwi, ingest the whole kiwi. The skin is the most important. And
Right.
this is they're seeing this as one of the better supplements out there as far as going to sleep quicker, staying asleep,
Yeah.
deeper REM.
Brother, I swear to goodness, man. This like as I'm hearing this, this gives me more proof and evidence that nature gives us everything we need.
Oh, 100%, man.
Everything.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
like, bruh,
We have all the tools, man. We just got to get
dude.
out of our own way.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's getting out of our own way, Brian. It's something like we said several times in these recordings, man. It's like it's a factor of laziness. It becomes
Yeah.
super easy to say, oh, you know what? Like I can't do this, so I'm gonna go freaking get a popping pill.
Hmm.
Rather than doing some of the research if you're like, hey, what are some sleep aids that can work for me? And again, like viewing your body as an experiment because it's an opportunity for you to see like what works, what doesn't, what agrees with you, what doesn't. And most of the stuff like with veggies, fruits,
Hmm.
like roots, like these things, man, like they're impactful. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
finding out what's gonna work for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man, dang, Brian, man, this was powerful, man. This is potent. So like if there was one thing, right?
Hmm.
Um, if there was one thing that you want to impart on others. Did I use that word right? Impart? I think I
Sounds good to me. I was bad in English. I'm,
did. Me too. I'm like,
I'm getting better.
yeah, I'm working on it too, bro. I'm
I
working on
read a
it
lot,
too,
but my vocabulary's I should have paid more attention in school.
dude. Every time I think about that, I think about Mrs. Harwood as a teach my English teacher, and we had these words that we had to learn and shit. And I was like,
Hmm.
this is a pain in the freaking
Hmm.
buttocks. But now I'm like, yo, what word is this? So in
Yeah,
part was the right one. It's like basically make knowledge known. You know, I had to look that shit up.
exactly.
Um, so like Brian, just one thing, like with all the gems that we put out today, um, if there was one thing that you want to impart on people, and it could be something that was said or something that has yet to be said, what was it? What is it that you want to make sure that they know before we wrap up, bro?
How important sleep is. Like, just don't brush it off. It's like almost like the water topic. You know, you got to drink more water. Yeah, yeah, I know. And they don't drink more water, and all of a sudden they start having like all these like physiological diseases and stuff like that, or illnesses. Sleep is so important. Get that. Do whatever you can to get good quality sleep. I mean, we give you a bunch of gems here to kind of roll with. You can do more research on the outside. Put the link in the of the Huberman podcast with Dr. Matthew in below. I
Yeah,
mean, that guy's awesome.
that's
Both
what's
guys are awesome, but
up.
don't take your sleep lightly. You know, if you're overweight and you're trying things and you're eating clean, you're working out, but you can't seem to get that that deep sleep, or you can't seem to recover. Maybe
Yeah,
get a sleep study done. Maybe check out where your REM is. Maybe, or if you're getting that stage 5 REM, or do anything you can to kind of improve your sleep. Stop buying
right.
supplements to you know, what's the word I'm looking for, to compensate for your lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Stop, people, like before we talk about, people drink, people smoke. That doesn't work for you. It's actually more detrimental for your body.
Mm,
So try to do things that are going to impact your sleep. Shut off your phone about an hour or two before. Don't go on your phone. Don't look at that blue light in your face.
yeah.
Your body thinks it's 6 a.m. in the morning. It's time to wake up. Time to go to work. You know,
Shit.
Maybe journal a little bit. Maybe take a look at what we talked about earlier in the segment. Like, what, depending on what time of days you're waking up, that could be something going on with like an organ, or something that's inhibited in your body. Take a look at that.
Mm,
You know, be what's the word I'm looking for? Be one with your body. Like,
yeah.
be in tune with your body. You know,
Mm,
you know, get your
thank
mind out of the way and focus on your body. That'd be that's a lot of things I gave you, but
But the overall, what I'm hearing, the overall thing is like to to bring awareness and attention to how and in the ways that you sleep and the
yes,
quality of your sleep is what I'm hearing.
definitely.
Um, something that remember I really wanted to talk to you about with this episode.
Hmm.
Um, I have uh, I have attempted to play around with what I term like the Nikola Tesla sleep patterns.
Okay.
So I like studying like brilliant minds, and one of the things with Nikola Tesla is that he would sleep for I think it was 3 hours. What was it? Like he'd sleep for 3 hours, be up for four, sleep for three, be up for four. He would go in this cycle. So before we wrap up, I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because, like, I mean, like, the dude is just on a different level. I mean, it may have worked for him, but like, I'm curious, like, with what we've said, is that possible to still have quality sleep and be able to sleep in those patterns?
I've read that before. I forgot what the benefits of doing that was.
Yeah,
I did read him, because actually I read his autobiography before, and he did mention that. I It was like, man, 20, 15, 20 years ago I read it, so I don't know
yeah,
exactly the benefits of it. I
yeah,
would say in this day and age, with what we have going on, the
yeah.
stresses that are all around us, is it practical? I would say no.
Right.
I don't see us, you know, even if the benefits are there, could we do it in a society without putting more stress on our body?
No.
Probably not. I don't see
Yeah.
us, sleeping three, setting an alarm, being up for 4 hours and going back, whatever it is, unless, like, I'm retired. Maybe I'll check it out one day when I'm retired and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have a
You
month
have
to
no
kill. I'll be like, all right,
responsibility.
let's see what this guy had. Let's see what this guy knows about. Maybe I'd try it then. But, like, if you have kids running around the house, you have two jobs, and you're stressed out. I don't think it's practical. But I'd be curious to reread that again
Yeah.
and see what the benefits of it are. The guy was a genius.
He was a
He's
genius.
not doing
Yeah.
anything out of stupidity.
Huh?
He's not doing anything out of stupidity. There's a rhyme and reason for what he's doing. So I would
Yeah,
take
man.
his concepts somewhat seriously. Yeah.
We may have to do like a short video on that, like as a follow up to this one, man, because I
Yeah.
think I vividly remember when I read that about him, and it was just I was there's someone else that does that. Someone I'm gonna find out. But there was another person that does that. I'm uncertain if it was Elon Musk or there's someone else that does it
Mm-hmm.
like that. But anyway, I'll find out.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for that, man.
Yeah.
For me, one thing I want to impart about sleep is to view it as your time to rest and heal. There's a lot of things out there that are promoted for stress management, for healing, and it could be anything ranging from meditation, Reiki, nutrition, uh, and I believe that sleep is the space for us to grow. Like with everything that we have going on in a day, for us to be able to allow our body, our physical body, to come to a state like in yoga, they call it the corpse pose. I'm going to be still. A lot of stuff is circulating within my body that's going to help me grow. We talked about before, and also something that we spoke about is it also helps us integrate. So whether you're in a fitness routine, you got a lot of stuff happening today, you're a leader, entrepreneur stuff, you got stuff running around your mind. Your sleep is your component to process all of that. So the by resisting or having this attitude of like I gotta hustle sleep, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, guess what? You may be dead quicker sooner than you think, son.
Yeah.
Or woman. Um,
And
because
that's
listen,
another thing I want to kind of piggyback off real quick is like when you were talking
yeah,
about like, hey, I was up to like in the beginning of the segment, you're saying I was up to like 1 o'clock or something like that. A lot of people are like that. They're like, oh, let
yeah,
me do this one more email. Let me do this one more thing for work, blah, 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 blah. If you go to sleep, trust me, like like we were talking about before as an entrepreneur, like we're both entrepreneurs, you have to be sharp. You have to be
yes,
sharp. So sacrifice the 3 hours of BS work that you got to do at night because the
yeah,
next day you're not going to be as efficient. You're not going to be able to think as clearly. Your intuition's not going to be there as much,
yep,
so you
yep.
that's the most
Yeah,
important.
listen,
Get that 8 hours of sleep, and so you just have a more efficient day. You'll answer that
exactly.
email a lot quicker. It'll be more efficient email. You're not going to be rushing through it,
Dude,
So,
I
you
make
know,
my mistakes at night.
yeah,
I'm trying to freaking like I know for me now, it's like if I'm writing an email at night, I'll save the draft and send it the next day so
yeah,
I can actually read what the hell I was writing.
yeah,
And I found that that's when I stopped doing a lot of those work.
hmm
Like I'm lying. I still do some of that stuff. I do.
yeah,
I know you got some emails from me. It's like 12:30 at night, and so
yeah.
I'm
I
like,
ignore you at that point. I ignore you. No,
I figured because I didn't hear from you. I was like, man, you know what?
yeah,
Reach
no.
out. I need
I'll
validation.
text you back at 4 a.m. when I wake up.
Yeah, there you go. I'll be like, yo, man, I'm trying to get some sleep. So
Yeah.
like, yo, so this is important, man. This is important.
Mhm.
I'm happy that we're talking about this. And listen, for those that, as you listen to this and you have questions or you have sleep situations, put it in the comments. Send a question to B and I, man. Like more than black or white at gmail.com. We're here for you, man. This is one of the reasons why we're putting out this content because we want you to be aware, we want you to be knowledgeable, and we want you to find the fit that works for you and
Mhm.
only you. All right.
Yeah.
So, Brian, any last words before we wrap up for the
No,
peoples?
please. I mean, sleep's important. It's a third of your life you're doing. So if you're not getting it, please reach out for help.
Yeah,
Drop a
please.
comment in there. We can, if you have a question, which kind of supplement you should take. What I'll do is I'll put some links in there because not all supplements are the same. I'll put some
Yeah.
links in there for good quality stuff
Yeah.
that won't be expensive. So you guys can start with that.
Bless up, man. Bless
Hmm.
up, Brian. Another good one in the books,
Another one.
babies. Another one in the books.
Check it
Uh,
out. Hmm.
Yep, check. So bless up, everybody. Thank you. Share. You like this stuff? Like,
Yep.
comment, share, man. Get this knowledge out to people because I'm telling you, especially with the stuff that we're talking about, people can use this. So share it. All
Yep.
right.
Appreciate
Peace,
you guys.
everybody.
Peace.
Until next time.